please subscribe. Thank you.
How's everybody doing this evening? I look pissed. I'm just a person who's conscious and aware. Stop telling me to smile. What the is going? Why is people telling me to smile? Shukran, Maj. I really didn't come on here with much to say. I'm sending out, blessings to the people over there in DC, down there in DC. And keep your head on swivel. So I was supposed to be a part of this, I was supposed to be a part of a BIPOC fair, okay? It's supposed to be a BIPOC fair. And my work, Fascists Are Not Your Friend, I was told that I am not allowed to sell my Fascists Are Not Your Friend items in the BIPOC fair. And it was happening at a library. And they said that I'm not allowed to sell my items because it's a public event and they don't want to offend anybody. And they feel that, by having me selling these items in their fair, that they could possibly lose grants. So I have products right now that I've created called Fascists Are Not Your Friend. Chill for Girly said, sound like the fair is not fair. I love that kind of humor. Our Tiago Avila, who was on the Freedom Flotilla and is also planning the next flotilla. They're going to be he's going to be promoting is not the word, but we're going to be amplifying the flotilla that is taking place called the Samud Flotilla. The Samud Flotilla will have at least, I think, 12 boats that they're planning. And, I'm really happy to have been contacted by them to be a part of just continuing to send messages to Gaza. I'm in communication with a couple of people in Palestine, and I was talking to a comrade in Palestine last night, and he said to me, and we were speaking right after the horrible news came out about Anas and the other Al Jazeera individuals, and he said to me, I just wish that you all out there could stop this, that there could be an end to this. Like, they need to shut down train stations, they need to close down airports, etc. And I felt embarrassed. I felt embarrassed to have to tell him, like, today I had people, the same person that was aligned with the genocide. Let me also just say that when people are like, why are you still talking about Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris is not like some host on a talk show. She was the vice president of the United States. She will always be relevant conversation. Okay? George Bush will always be relevant conversation. Dick Cheney will always be relevant conversation. Ronald Reagan will always be relevant conversation. There have only been a handful of individuals who have been in these positions of power. Why would I at any point decide this person is no longer relevant? When people say like, oh, don't talk about Obama. Barack Obama was the president twice. Twice. So I will always talk about these people because they are always going to be relevant aspects of the progress or reversion of this nation. She's also a war criminal. So, yeah. So I just wanted to share how embarrassed I felt to have to tell this man who's literally eating one meal a day, who's sending me videos of the bombs that they're hearing. And I gotta tell him, like, you want Americans to shut down airports, train stations? So much of, for other people, they won't even do it for themselves. I'm trying to convince Americans, like, you know, you're in boiling water. So I think it's just, I think some people just seem to not understand who I am, what I'm about, you know, because no one else exists like me. There's no like other blueprint for what I do, who I am. So it's like, oh, you do this thing that no one else does. And I don't understand why that's so odd for people. But it shouldn't be. It should be something that you welcome. And I also found it fascinating that folks were like comparing what I do to Kamala Harris as if there is some sort of like equanimity there. So again, someone is in here saying, well, why aren't we giving the same attention to Sudan and the Congo as we are giving to Haiti and Palestine? So first of all, that's just a silly question. For a number of reasons. One, there hasn't been a cataclysmic event that was also publicized as there was on October 7th in any of those places. So to suggest that the scenarios are the same is actually incorrect. What happened on October 7th, first of all, let me make it clear that what's been happening in Israel and in Palestine has been going on for 75 years. And you could have actually added you could have added Palestine into the same conversation with why aren't we talking about Palestine? There was an entire funding that happened. They raised like $1 million or millions of dollars in like a matter of days to fix like the Church of Notre Dame when it burned down. However, no one was talking about Palestine on the mainstream media. No one was talking about Haiti. No one was talking about the Congo. No one was talking about Sudan. No one is talking about the Uyghurs in China. No one is talking about the Rohingya. No one is talking about the Tigray. It's really like, it feels like a really like contrarian and hip thing to do, to be like, why aren't we talking about these other places? When in reality, there are a number of places all across this world that are suffering indignations, oppressions, and genocide that at the end of the day ends up coming right back to the colonizer. So if we're going to say, why aren't they talking about such and such, we have to acknowledge something very unique happened on October 7th. And the reality of October 7th was that Israel misfired. Israel misfired. Don't tell me nothing about as a black woman. F all that as a black woman. Give me a break. Israel misfired on October 7th because they really thought that everyone in the world was going to ride with them.